Hi and welcome back to another exhibit build, which we are jumping straight into. As you can see here, I already put up the walls and figured out which part of the exhibit I wanted to use. This part of the build was quite straightforward, so I decided to skip this part today so we can jump right into the important part of this build, which is this implied outdoor area. We are of course building for our new exhibit species, the Hermann's Tortoise. Since I've been doing so many exhibit builds lately, I thought it would be fitting to start out with the exhibit species this time, when we're trying out the new pack. Which I don't think is done often unless it's like a walkthrough species, then people often start with them. The interesting thing with this species is that it is a species you, at least in Europe, quite often hold with some kind of an outdoor area attached to it. Which is why I ended up with this design here. I want to try to see if I could make it feel like there's like a small garden to this exhibit for which the tortoise should be able to go into. They of course can't, but I've done my best to make it look like it. So I've kept like a quarter of the exhibit size so the tortoise still have an indoor area for the colder days and for the winter and so on. And then I make this little garden next to it, which we will be decorating later. So I have not really have a whole lot of time for playing Planet Zoo and for making videos lately. So this is the first video I really do where I go into this new pack. I did one recently which makes good sense to talk a bit about here when we are building this. So I made a video about the most important feature which the exhibits could get, in my opinion, which would be Null-Walls. And I especially had the tortoise here in mind, so you could do something like this but without having to work outside of the exhibit box where there will be no animals. This kind of build would of course be way more fun if the tortoise could actually walk around in what looks like an outdoor area. So you can go and check out that video. It seems like a lot of you already did, so that is great. That's a feature I really hope to see in the future. And speaking of stuff I have covered here on the channel, which have made it into the game, the Malayan tapir. I felt like we should just mention this shortly today. I might go a bit more into it in another video, I think. I feel like it deserves its own video. I think I at least want to make some kind of build for the new updated, I almost want to say new tapir. And otherwise, I really don't have a whole lot of plans for the Eurasia pack. I knew I wanted to make this build here today, just because it felt obvious when I've been doing so many exhibit builds lately. And this build is also not part of any zoo, so it will just be something I upload as a blueprint. You should be able to find it now, if I remembered to put it up. I hope I did, otherwise let me know. And I also ended up going with some kind of like a Mediterranean style for this. Wasn't really the plan from the start, but it kinda happened. I hope you can find use of it in some of your zoos. Maybe I'll find use of it myself somewhere someday. But for now it's just a blueprint which is not part of any of my zoos. And at the moment I don't really know which zoo I want to make progress on. I have a lot of loose ideas and I think for a period I might just be jumping a bit around or start something new. But at least the Malayan tapir, as mentioned before, I think we're gonna add to Canopy Gardens. It would fit perfectly in there. But at the moment I can't really promise how consistent I'll be with uploading content. So as you can see, I'm decorating the outside area a bit. I also made a small implied pool with one of the fountain pieces. And when you look through this hole in the wall, it's actually really hard to see the glass in there. So I think it really works well. It really looks like there's a small gateway for the tortoise to walk out in there. So even though they can't get out there, you get the feeling, I think. And this is really the first exhibit species we've had where this kind of build made sense, I think. There are a few others you could do something similar with, but this one just felt obvious. December has been a bit busy for me so far, and I think it might stay like that for the rest of the year. But I hope I can manage to get something out every week, but I can't make any promises. But I really want to stay active because we're so close to 1,000 subscribers. So if you want to help me hit hit that golden number, then make sure to click on that subscribe button. And of course also leave this video a like so it will get a bit further out there. The annoying thing about trying to go with the size of the exhibit box itself is that if you just attach the wall completely up against the walls of the exhibit box, then part of the box will poke through. Which means if you really want to cover it up nicely, then you have to put all your walls on different grids, which gets quite annoying to work with. It also meant I couldn't really test out the new multicolor tool all that much. And you can see when you are building roofs it also gets complicated. So you might also notice this if you get this as a blueprint. It's not really full of logical building groups or anything. It doesn't seem like there are a whole lot of spawning spots for the tortoises in the part of the exhibit I went with here. I'm of course not very used to working with this species in Planet Zoo. I didn't really know how many I could expect in that corner, and I didn't really test it all that much before I started building. But it was the best corner to decorate like this, I felt, especially because it had the lamp there. Quite nice for realism, especially if you're too lazy to put one in yourself. And other than that, I didn't really decorate the inside all that much. Tried to make sure it looked like the indoor area and the outdoor area kinda melded together. And otherwise it's just an implied door for the keeper to be able to open up into the terrarium, and then there is a small ventilation up in the top. I think I add that in the very end of the video. And I also just added a few decorations to the outside and just wanted it to feel like a small little complete build. So some of these details you can of course always delete again if you want to use this build. But as mentioned, there is a video about Null-Walls, which makes good sense to check out if you are interested in getting more creative with exhibits. I really hope that is something Frontier could consider to add to the game one day. I'm quite surprised it doesn't have it yet. And other than that, I just hope you enjoyed this little build here today. It will come to an end very soon, and you can of course go and check it out yourself on the workshop. But thank you for stopping by, and make sure to leave the video a like, and of course subscribe to the channel to help me reach my goal and see more of my videos if you like this one.